You should totally do that.
What's that?
You should do that again.
How does that? I don't even remember. Breaking news, hi, coming to you live from the middle of a pandemic. I'm Mark Jacksina, host of Order Fire. Pete loves when I say that.
That's so good news.
Yeah. Hi, welcome to a special episode of Order Fire. Obviously, we're not coming to you from Free Range Brewery as normal, but nothing's normal nowadays. We wanted to offer Sam's story as we filmed it back in February because it's a great episode and it's a great story. We did, though, want to get caught up with Sam and see where he's pivoted to now since, as you can tell, all of us are living our lives a little bit differently. So stay tuned after that episode for Sam's update. Thanks. Clap on, clap off. That's a better look for you.
I need all the help I get, man.
Blue's your color.
Yeah. Give me a tan.
Give me a beat.
Feeling pasty.
Hey friends, today we're at Upstream, a premier seafood restaurant here in Charlotte. Talk to executive chef and my good friend, Sam Diminich. Did I say that right?
You sure did.
I thought I was gonna screw it up. I'm gonna take it again though. Hey friends, today we're at Upstream, a premier seafood restaurant in South Charlotte, talking to executive chef and my good buddy, Sam Diminich. Sam, thanks for having us here, man.
Thanks for coming.
How did you end up being a chef in the first place? What drew you into this?
Oh, that's an easy answer right there. I'm third generation restaurateur.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So my grandfather was from Trieste, came to the States, opened a restaurant in 1956 with my grandmother. And then we all lived there, or my dad lived there. And then so he was a cook up until 2004. And so I grew up hanging out, riding the coattails in the kitchen. I fell in love with it.
Were you ever going to do anything different?
Never, ever.
You never even had design,
No.
like, I'm going to go to school and be an architect?
No, it's funny. I always tell people if it wasn't for cooking, like cooking has done so much for me my whole life, I would probably still be on the beach, like stealing surfboards or, you know what I mean? Like up to no good, like that guy,
right.
You know? So, no, man, cooking is life.
Yeah?
So we're gonna do this roasted halibut entree, new on the menu. Basically 4 components: halibut, cabbage, butternut squash, and dashi. So we're gonna start the halibut here and finish it in the wood oven.
So when you first got in the industry, were you working for your father, your grandfather?
Yeah, I was. You know, I started out washing dishes.
All great chefs start
Standing
off
on a
washing
milk crate, you know what I mean?
Oh, Jesus, like if
'cause
you're
I
selling
wasn't-
this story?
Yes, that's me, man. And, you know, and finally I was, you know, they let me come in and make salads, and they let me make pasta and, you know, pick up plates, and caught the buzz. I really did. You know, I did that through high school. Once I get done with high school, my dad basically told me I was going to culinary school. Like it was not, like that was not on the itinerary. And so I graduated July 1994, and then in August I was at tech school. You know, and I had never, like, but back then it was different. It was so different. I'd never seen basil, fresh basil. I'd never baked bread or any of that stuff. You know what I mean? And so I did.
So you never saw basil? They didn't have basil in South Myrtle?
No, my dad, I mean, it was old school Italian, chicken parm, Ville Marsala, dried oregano, granulated garlic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Delicious.
We call it Joey Spice back home.
Joey Spice, yeah, man. It was good.
This is our new Upstream chopped salad. We're gonna use mozzarella, hazelnuts, lady apple. And I got this really beautiful cider vinegar in just this week.
So you went to CIA in Hyde Park.
I did. I was lucky. Well, to backtrack, my dad, so growing up in Myrtle Beach, before Myrtle Beach is what it is now, it was, you know, it was like a quiet community, you know, with...
When you say what it is now, you mean wild, dirty Myrtle?
Dirty Myrtle.
Because I'm not, you know, I only know it from coming, since I moved here, is like, you know, Myrtle Beach is...
Yeah, I mean, quaint,
Fucking
seaside
wild.
little, like not village, but town, you know, where everybody kind of knew each other. Like, you know, all my friends worked for my parents, my grandparents. You know what I mean? Like, that was the place to be.
Right.
And that's what we did. You know, so along the way, so different generations were being raised in the restaurant. So whenever I was finished school, or maybe when I was still in school at or Georgetown Tech, my dad told me that I was going to go to work for a different restaurant. You know what I mean? Like almost like a professional athlete getting traded or whatever. You know, you get sent off like this. I was told.
He was managing your career.
He managed my career, exactly. And I owe him so much for that.
So what kind of restaurant did he move you? He moved you up to, I take it? Was this supposed to be like a jump up?
This is the the part about my life that I love so much, because I went to this place called the Sea Island Inn, and Sea Island Inn was like a throwback European style inn where with your room you got breakfast and you got dinner, and then with breakfast everything was super fresh fruit, made to order omelets, all that, you know what I mean, and with dinner the menu changed every day, you know, so you had an option 3 courses. So that was the first time I'd ever seen like fresh basil, baked fresh bread, made demi-glace, all the stocks, fresh soups, everything was made from scratch. And then, was my first introduction to like really, really beautiful coastal seafood. You know, the crab. Back then we got it from McClellanville, which is like a little village just north of Charleston, kind of between Myrtle Beach and Charleston. And, so caught the buzz, man.
From Charlotte, North Carolina, Sam Diminich.
So Sam,
Yep.
tell me about meeting Bobby Flay.
Good evening, Sam, Aliza, how are you?
Great.
Wonderful.
To get to me, you first must go through each other.
It was quite an experience. So they reached out to me. It was kind of funny. It's a funny story. Through Messenger, right? And so Messenger's like one of those, so it can be like a rabbit hole, dark, some of those dark places. Like my dad sends me like, he's like,
Please show to Larry.
Right wing, like, open this tab or whatever, you know, and so anyway, so I got a couple of those, and I didn't touch it. I was like, no, thank you. But so I guess by the 3rd time, somebody had messaged me, a guy that I used to work with that now works for the Food Network, was like, hey, they're trying to get in touch with you. You know, you might want to pick this call up or answer this message or whatever. And I was like, okay, fine, let's do that. And then, like, my first inclination was thanks, but no thanks. But I reached out to you, Scott, Wendy Shanahan, and 3 people.
Did anybody give you advice that said don't do it?
Nobody. And, you know what I mean? And that's what I love about my life today, is that I have people in my life like you and when, just people that I trust, people's opinions that I trust, and they have a voice that I respect. And they were like, yeah, man, don't overthink it. That's what Wendy said, don't overthink it, and go for it, have fun. It'll be good for you. On a personal level, which really doesn't, like, upstream's more important to me than that. I don't think like that. But she said it'd be really, really good for the restaurant. And, and so once I heard those words, we had a conversation, Scott and I had a conversation, Wallen and I, it was,
and he was a chef
let's give it a
before
shot.
you.
Yeah, Scott and I go way back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's one of my best friends. His kids and my kids are the same age. You know what I mean? So I respect him. So anyway, so I reached out and then wound up doing a phone interview and then a Skype interview and then probably 3 or 4 more, over probably 45 days. And it got to the point where I was like, okay, so my menu is fluid. It's ever changing. We have farmers, we have suppliers, whatever comes my way, we'll work with it, and that's a fun part about what we do and how I'm supported here by the partners, the owners. And so one of the things about Beat Bobby Flay is you have to have a signature dish, right? I don't really have one. Like the sea bass is not mine. That's not my dish.
Right.
So I'm not going to claim it. And so anyway, so we had to jump through a couple of hoops to figure out what a signature dish would be from me. And so first we talked about minestrone, because as a kid growing up, there was always a 3rd pan of minestrone. You dip your bread in there. You know what I mean? Like, I was connected to that.
Right.
And I think I had a lobster with miso minestrone on the menu at the time. And then we went through the menu and finally got to the risotto part. And then they found something that they could work with. And I have one here, but it was always rotating out.
So what was the final
garnishes.
dish that you decided on?
What are we cooking tonight? What's your signature dish?
My signature dish is
Lobster risotto.
So the actual production of doing Bobby Flay, it's got to be a little bit different than working in a regular kitchen.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
It was wild,
I'm kind of curious
man.
because that stuff, like I've talked to Jamie about doing Top Chef, right? And I mean, obviously that's multiple episodes.
Whole another level,
That's
too.
a whole other level. So, but is it this sort of weird, like hurry up and wait thing? Or?
Precisely. That's exactly what it was. I had a 5:30 call.
In the morning?
In the morning, yeah. And I remember this week, because I had a heavy week in the restaurant. So the Sunday before I left, I practiced once. And because I wanted to time out the risotto. If I was gonna make this risotto, I want to know exactly, you know what I mean? Like, it's my recipe, but I have prep people's, I haven't made it in a while. So I wanted to make sure I at least had that part down so I don't go down
I'm laughing
total
because
flames, man.
Have you ever get to that point with a dish where you feel like you're less confident about it than you should be?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like you're looking to, you're turning over like, can somebody else answer this question? Because I haven't plated it in I don't know how many years or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's cool.
I'm glad
man.
it's not just me.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, I can totally relate. So 5:30 call, you arrive at the studio at 6, right? I've not done, I don't know anything about reality TV. You know what I mean? Like in my mind, I'm just a cook. I'm just a beach kid. So I arrive there, I don't know what to expect. They pull you into a room. There's somebody with you at all times. At all times. Producers with you at all times.
Afraid you're gonna run?
Well, it's reality TV, so if you just try to make it break for, I guess it's for a reason. But so we go on. I think it's 6:30 or 7. We started at 6:30 or 7 in the morning. Okay.
And did you work the day before?
Yeah. I mean, no, not the day before. I traveled, but it's waking up is a process. You know what I mean? It's 7 a.m. Normally it hasn't happened yet. So you walk in there, you get a tour of the studio, tour of the kitchen, right? Which is like 5 minutes long. Tour of the pantry, 2 minutes long. So you have a new stove, a new oven, all new equipment, a new layout, way different than what I have here, of course. 20 minutes later, you're competing on TV with somebody you don't know, you know what I mean? Like, that was the hardest part about it, my episode right there. When I made it through the first round and got to the second round, it became not a lot easier, but a lot more comfortable for me to do it. Because to me, it was just cooking. We're just cooking. That's it. And we'll give 100% and let the chips fall where they may. And so that was my approach. But it was cool to be, you're cooking, you look over there, there's Bobby Flay. I have a lot of respect for Bobby Flay. I relate to his story. Didn't finish high school. Blue collars all fucking get out, man. You know what I mean? Like, I can relate to that. And so that was a cool moment. From then on, I just wanted to win.
Okay, and the winner of Battle Risotto is Chef Sam.
So would you say Bobby Flay's a good loser?
No, man. No, he was super cool. We talked between takes, and he was very, very friendly, easy to speak to.
But how do you take his loss?
He didn't take it well. No, he doesn't like to lose.
That's what I'm saying.
I think it's well documented. He has to walk off his own stage. That was like my favorite part about it. Getting him to get the fuck out. You know what I mean?
Right.
See ya.
Okay, so here we have our porcini mushroom, pork belly, and shrimp shumai. Shumai is an open-faced dumpling. We have yuzu aioli, flying fish roe, orange flying fish roe, chives. Then this is our turmeric prawn dashi that we're pouring tableside.
So your sister was my youngest's 4th grade teacher, which is how you and I know each other. Around that time frame, you and I were probably toiling in the same swirl, as it were.
Sure.
Would this be about that time?
Yeah, about 2010, 2011.
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah. So we're talking about sobriety here, right?
Yeah, of course.
So the backstory on that really is like, I mentioned growing up in the restaurant as a kid, right? And a lot of that, my parents were extremely hardworking people, who loved us, but they couldn't keep tabs on all of us all the time.
Yeah.
So growing up like that, there was a lot of access. And also, kind of growing up the way I did, you're left to kind of figure out a lot of things on your own, right? You're kind of left to figure out a lot of shit on your own. And so I picked up these two, for lack of a better phrase, life skills, you know what I mean? How to party, and function in a restaurant, and also pretend like you know what's going on or you have a grasp on things, right? So, at a very early age, there were issues with substance abuse, drinking, drugging, and that followed me all my life, really.
Look, I mean, it's let's face it, like, so we grew up, as you said, in one of the greatest generations of chefs, and of course, I'm sure most generations would probably say that as they come along. But what definitely set ours more so apart was we also grew up when it was being celebrated. Like, not only were we these creative people, not only were we these, like idiot savants, whatever, was also the whole like, these guys do this shit and they work like 18 hours a day and then they fucking party like a rock star.
Badge of honor.
This is the only industry where you get to be a rock star unless you're a rock star.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. 100%. Yep.
Can I have the aioli for the crab cakes, please?
Yeah, crab cakes pick up down there.
Oh yeah, what am I doing?
Remember?
Sorry, sir.
Remember?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Welcome to Upstream.
I just got so starstruck.
Alcoholism is progressive. Addiction is progressive. So if you had my life on a graph, it would look like that. You know what I mean? And eventually it went like that.
Right.
2013, 2014. It was a free fall.
Like you could have kept going. It's not like you just suddenly find the bottom that's there. You finally just hit whenever it is and you're just like, this is a fucking enough.
Yeah.
Some people just never find that bottom.
Yeah.
And
So I had lost the power of choice when it comes down to drinking and drinking a long time ago, right? But there was still part of me that would not surrender to that truth, right? So 2013, 2014, I wound up as a consequence of my actions, right? Nobody else's,
right?
Homeless and on the streets of Charlotte, and it sounds, might sound crazy, look crazy. I don't look like a crackhead, you know what I mean? That's my truth.
Yeah.
And it took what it took. Pain is the cover charge, as they say in recovery, man.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And I required a lot of pain. I know plenty of people, man, that woke up one morning and was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm not drinking anymore, I can't take it. You know what I mean? My life's falling apart, and that's it. For me, on the other hand, no, you can give up easy. I don't like to lose, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in my mind, that's what I was doing. And so yeah, homeless on the streets, man, running around some very, very shady neighborhoods and brushes with death, just insanity, man, insanity. And so the gates of insanity are death. I was right there at the gate, man. But just not ready to pass through quite yet. So I reached out for help. November 16th, 2014. I got on a bus and I went to treatment in South Carolina. My family was waiting on me.
Who reached out? Can I ask you?
Everybody was waiting on me. You know what I mean? And I tell people all the time, like, love is the only thing that ever saved my life.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes that looks like tough love. Sometimes that looks like, no, we're not gonna co-sign your bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've done everything we can do. So it's up to you, boss, in your court, what you want to do and what you're gonna do about it and when. So finally, so the morning of the 15th, I'd taken a bus, I checked into treatment, and that was the beginning of the rest of my life right there. I didn't know it at the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't know it. I thought for sure, that I was born on the wrong planet. You know what I mean? I didn't belong here.
Right.
I couldn't understand how I went to one of the best schools in the world. You know what I mean? I'd done high school. I could do a lot of things, man. I had 2 great kids. You know what I mean? But I could not stop drinking and using drugs. And that's all I knew. So I figured that I would be in that treatment center for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? And,
right.
and I legit thought that. And because I didn't belong out there.
And when you say you legit thought that you were going to be in that treatment center because you didn't think that sobriety was going to happen for you?
Hopeless, yeah. Hopeless.
Were you at that point where you just couldn't even envision what sobriety looked like?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Because I'd had my opportunities before, half-hearted as they were. I thought in my mind I attempted this and it wasn't for me. Like it just would not in the cards. You know what I mean? I found a lot of faith along the way. A lot of faith.
Was that something that was already existing in you before you sort of like just started the long path to bottom to recovery, or is this something that you really like? Was this something that sprung up out of recovery and wasn't existent before, like a dormant seed?
Sure. We're talking about faith. We're talking about God. We're talking about an awakening, right? And so that didn't. I don't think that pre-existed in me, and
did the desire for it exist in you, do you think?
The seed was planted, a long time ago, but I didn't know what to do with it at the time, but when we talk about God, right, there's like this, I grew up Catholic, right? So we have, for me, this religious association, but the actual definition of God is the ultimate reality, right? Right? I don't want anything to do with Catholicism. I don't want to go to church. I don't go to church, man. But I can get down with the ultimate reality. You know, and I love that. And that was introduced to me with no strings attached. You know, you want to find freedom, you know, get out of self and into service, you know, and be on the path to a godlike consciousness, you know, an ultimate reality. You know, and there's some works, there's some steps, but you know, basically for the most part, to sum it up, you know, it's an inside job, as you know, right? So, so there's abstinence and then there's living sober, you know, and what I love about my life today is that I had people there, I still have people there that showed me, that helped me, you know, still paved the way, you know, so where I can get out of self and into service, you know, and easier said than done sometimes, you know, especially with the life we lead here in the restaurant. You know what I mean? I mean, it's 8 days a week.
Yeah.
You know, shit doesn't stop. You know, so I don't think I could exist without that.
Right.
You know, especially in this world.
So we have Brussels. It's one of our sides. They've already been blanched, so we're gonna crispin them up.
What are some of the things that bring you joy today? What are some of the things that you're grateful for?
Well, you know, it's funny because I don't identify as a chef, right? That may be shocking. You know, I identify as a recovered person. You know, that's my identification. I'm so proud of that. You know what I mean? And so being recovered to me means freedom. You know, so waking up every single day, you know, and not having that voice inside my head say, oh man, you got one more in you. Then, you know, you get to come here, you know, and work with beautiful products. I get to do whatever it is we want to do with the kids. You know what I mean? If you follow me on Instagram, you're getting so many kid pictures. You know what I mean? The loves of my life. I mean, what a gift. You know what I mean? And I value all that. You know, but that's what brings me joy, is to wake up every single day and be a free person. That's crazy. It's crazy for me to even say it. You know what I mean? But that's my joy right there. And so from then, anything's possible, man. Everything's on the table.
It's got to be interesting to be you, I think, in a way where you could take a look at where you were when you decided that you were at bottom, right? And take a look at where you're at this point. And not to go like, hey, look how grateful you should be, but what an amazing opportunity, what an amazing life. And I think everybody's life has those if they just stop and take stock. But, you know, here you are now, executive chef, restaurant that's, you know, proven to be a winner, knocking out food that people are paying attention to, knocking down your door to be on TV, right? Awesome kids, you're in service of other people. What the fuck do you find time for Sam, though?
You know, that's a good question. And I don't have an answer for that. I really don't have an answer for that. You know what I mean? But I feel like I'm on a journey with a purpose. That's all I know, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's all I know. And you know, and now is not the time to start asking questions, man. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like I'm in that position. I feel like I'm on this journey, and I don't want it to stop.
Right.
You know, and you know, if you'd have told me my life would look like this 5 years ago, I would have told you to kiss my ass. That shit ain't happening, man. You know what I mean? You know, I'm godless. There's no hope. You know, and so little by little, you know, like I mentioned before, one door's open, I walk through it. One door's open, walk through it. You know what I mean? So right now I'm here. I'm with you. You know what I mean? That's what we're doing.
I think saying yes is probably the hardest thing to do. You know, and I don't know that everybody would get that, but it's funny, your eyes kind of lit up because you know what I mean, because saying yes is easy, right? But saying yes to the right things, that's the hardest fucking thing, right?
Yeah, oh, for sure. You talking about personal time?
Just whatever, dude. I mean, like, right? Bobby Flay, you wanted to say no. He said yes.
No, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, you're knocking out great food. People should see that. Now, like I told you, even if you don't win, what the fuck? You get to go to New York for free, right?
Right, exactly. Yep, couple 3-day trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was cool. That was good. I'll tell you what though, this show, and I'll say it to the camera, this show means more to me than any Food Network show I've, come and gone.
No. Why do you say that?
Because it's community. It's community. I've respected both of you guys for a long time. I've been watching, been a fan, and I think without community, we are isolated. Isolated individuals. And I was taught early on. We touched on this before, as far as how important the fellowship is. In the we in our life. And so that's my outlook on our, not only our culinary community, but all aspects, hospitality, our neighborhood, our neighbors. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel it's the world is better with us. You know what I mean? Rather than I.
Yeah. present in it.
You know what I mean?
Not just in it, but present in it.
Yep. You know what I mean? So but the impact I think that this show has had on the community is remarkable. You know, so it has to be mentioned. So
Well, I think it's
absolutely.
but it's a symbiotic thing, you know. It's like
Sure.
but that's always the thing about community, right? There's no cart, there is no horse. It just it's there.
Yeah.
It
Right.
feeds off of it.
Exactly. Yep.
Sam, I want to say I'm beyond grateful that you would take time to sit down with us. Thank you so much for
Thanks for
having us
having
here
me,
today,
man. What a privilege.
Ours as well.
Thanks. We good?
We're better than good.
We're better than good.
Better than we were.
Right? Yeah. That was fun, man.
Sam, how about that episode?
How about it?
Lots happened since we filmed that episode. It's been 7 months.
Yeah.
Did you get us caught up?
Yeah. Triumph through tragedy.
Triumph through tragedy. Yeah, let's see. You're no longer helming the executive chef position at Upstream. That's because unfortunately Upstream is no longer a thing. That's the reality of a pandemic, I guess.
Very sad.
Get us caught up, man. What are you doing? Why are we here?
Well, I made a pivot. I'm out of work. I go to Amazon. Of all places, I get a job at Amazon.
You went like the next day, didn't you?
I was right there after I got laid off. I went straight to it. I was the last one to get hired that day, 5 p.m. But they couldn't start me for 2 weeks. So this is where it gets kind of crazy, a little bit weird, but a happy ending. So I couldn't start for 2 weeks. I was just going to work in the warehouse and put boxes up until Upstream opened back up. That was the plan. But I had this 2-week window. Isaac calls me. Isaac from Harmony Ridge Farm, he has all this season's worth of crops. You know, that's how he pays his bills. I mean, this is like early days of COVID. So we just weren't sure what was going to happen next. I just could not imagine our world, our community, our network without the people that supply us the best vegetables, the best eggs. So what I came up with was I would cook, you know, and I would cook, and I kind of did a rip-off of Restaurant Week, 3 courses, $30. Simple salad or soup, entree, lots of vegetables, and a simple dessert, seasonal dessert. So we have a selection of 4 or 5 different apples here. So these are North Carolina pink lady apples. This is a cross between a Golden Delicious and a Lady William. Did not know that until now. So that was my mindset, to keep it really simple. I'd do it out of my apartment. I would do 10 a day. You know, and that way I could control the quality.
Sure.
You know, I could pay my bills, my daughter's Invisalign, you know, and not get my car repossessed. You know what I mean? Like, this is where I'm at with everything. And so, yeah, so that was the birth of Your Farms, Your Table. For Your Farms, Your Table, we're a community-based business serving community-based food. So it's important to me to make sure that I support as many local and regional farms as possible. So we go North Carolina preferred.
That's smart. So you kept delivery right in the cost. Still that way?
Still is. Yep.
Damn.
Yep. It is. And I think that's important too, because there's so many, different delivery vehicles, services out there right now that don't serve the chef,
right,
or the restaurant, or the small business. They just don't.
Well, they're hitting you for what, almost 30%, right?
Yeah, I mean, my experience at Upstream and Uber Eats and all those ventures was not a good one. North Carolina October beans.
One of the things that you said was out of self and into service, and obviously the idea behind Your Farm, Your Table, Your Farms, Your Table is the same idea of community and service, right? Your delivery drivers, you're utilizing folks that are fresh and raw to recovery, right?
Newly in recovery, yeah. I mean, whenever I got sober, it'll be 6 years in November, and which seems like yesterday, but that like my first year, 2 years, whatever, was like an impressionable, period of my life, where I just needed, I just needed somebody to support me. I needed a job. I needed to understand how life skills work. Earning money, paying bills, being accountable, showing up on time, all that, some of these life skills that we might take for granted, nowadays are new to people early in recovery. So yeah, so I wanted to provide that opportunity, and that's what we do. Charlotte Agenda, Emma wrote an article. She ordered a meal. I didn't know it was her. She ordered a meal, enjoyed her experience, wrote something on Charlotte Agenda, and everything changed after that.
And how, like, you were in business
That was
for
probably 2 weeks.
Yeah, so it'd be 2 weeks, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you went from like wanting to do 10 meals a day or doing 10 meals a day in 2 weeks time after the Charlotte Agenda. How quick, like, what did your meal plan change?
Yeah.
How many dinners?
So literally, I would wake up. I was getting all my orders on Instagram Messenger, the the messaging service, and so I woke up one day and I was like, holy shit! Instead of 10, I have 37. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And so one thing led to another, and I figured out that Emma had written this article, and so she put my contact info on there, and from that point on, I called my sister, said I need you. She was laid off. She's a teacher and a yoga instructor, so everything was shut down for her. So she came over, and she possesses the same hustle I have. And so she helped me out with the packaging and the navigation, and so she's a co-founder. And so whenever COVID happened, this business idea took off. I found an opportunity to where I could use the voice that I have, as a chef in Charlotte, as a sober human being, to tell the stories of the farmers and the agriculturalists. And I always come back to that Chick-fil-A that's right around the corner from my fucking house. It has a line of cars up there every single day. But honestly, like, I'm driving by there every day in the early days, and I'm just thinking about 11 million people in food and beverage have been laid off, and these people can't do anything better than grab Chick-fil-A for lunch, and there's a dozen good chicken sandwiches from people that have spent days, hours researching, how to make that chicken, the brine, trying out the bread, the pick, you know what I mean? From Chris to Jim, if just a little bit of effort, you know what I mean? A little bit of effort, we can keep one of these places open, and again, at the time, I just know a lot of managers, a lot of chefs, a lot of restaurateurs, a lot of restaurant owners, were barely hanging on.
Still
and
barely
that was
hanging
like, there was nothing, that was common knowledge. Like, we're struggling, the industry's struggling. Yet there's that drive-through every single day. People line up around the corner. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, cool. Well, let's have this conversation about how symbiotic our relationship is with. We don't have to be organic carrot snobs here, okay?
Right.
But you can go to Goodyear House and get Chris's chicken sandwich. I know he's researched the shit out of it. Spend your money there.
Yeah. And he makes it.
It might take you about 5 more minutes, and keep your ass off the, the Facebook and the drive-through where you're probably liking everything that, all of us are posting. I'm gonna add a little bit of broth to the sauce right there. We can go back through.
Okay.
Give them some more love, and so they're not too dry by the time the guest gets them.
I'll need 3 entrees.
2.
Yes, sir.
That right there. Huh? Yeah. Drive safe.
Are you finding time for Sam yet?
Yeah, I mean, no, not really. Not really, but.
I mean, it's hard when you start a new business.
Yeah, it is, and it's one of those things where it just feels different because it's mine, right? And I love to cook. I love living a sober life. I'm heavily involved in Ben's Friends, food and beverage recovery support group, and I'm a parent. And could I use an 8th day in the week? Sure, but who couldn't? You know what I mean? But I still feel the same then. It just looks a little bit different than I did back in February whenever we filmed the first time. Is that I just feel like I'm on this journey, man.
Right.
And when the next door opens up, I'll be ready for it.
Sam, thanks for having us out today.
Man, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Not as much as we appreciate you.
Yeah.
So, why don't you go ahead and tell the folks at home where they can get their meals?
Yeah, absolutely. Please, my website, yourfarmsyourtable.com.
What about on social media?
On Chef Sam Diminich on Instagram, and then Sam Diminich on Facebook as well. Yeah, come check us out.
Thank you.